I killed my mom in her sleep with a sledgehammer.
There was this wet thumping sound.
Please subscribe to our channel and turn on bell icon to watch more real true crimes around the world. The terrifying incidents that took place on a dreadful night in August 2012 still linger in the shared memory of a small community in Tennessee. Zachary Davis, a seemingly ordinary 15-year-old, perpetrated a horrifying act of violence that devastated his family and left the town wrestling with questions about the essence of evil, mental health, and the fine boundary separating them. Zachary Davis came into the world on July 27, 1997. Born to Melanie and Chris Davis, Zachary was a reserved child, and his introversion deepened when he was 9 years old following the death of his father. In 2007, the Davis family was struck by a heartbreaking tragedy. Chris, the patriarch of the family and father to the two boys, succumbed to amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, ALS, also known as Lou Gehrig's disease. This event was profoundly distressing, particularly for Zachary, who was severely impacted by his father's demise, leading to his struggles with mental health. In the wake of this, Melanie and her sons moved to Sumner County in hopes of a fresh start. At the tender age of 11, Zachary began to exhibit unusual behavior. The details are vague, but his mother, Melanie, grew concerned enough to seek professional medical help for him. Zachary was perceived as a mystery by his contemporaries. He was a reclusive misfit, frequently spotted in the same hoodie every day. His hobbies were profoundly disturbing. He had an app on his phone dedicated to serial killers, a peculiar interest for someone his age. Another app on his device catalogued various instruments of torture, suggesting a mind attracted to the macabre. His notebooks were filled with enigmatic phrases such as, "You can't spell slaughter without laughter." Was this a dark sense of humor, or an indication of something more ominous? Zachary's mental state started to deteriorate following the death of his father. He reported hearing voices and was diagnosed with schizophrenia and depression. Despite his usual calm demeanor, Zachary was gradually losing his grip on reality. His actions became increasingly unpredictable, displaying symptoms associated with schizophrenia and depressive disorders. He was tormented by auditory hallucinations, asserting that he could hear voices, including his late father's. His mother, Melanie Davis, acknowledged the seriousness of his condition and sought professional intervention. Zachary was brought to a psychiatrist at Vanderbilt University Medical Center. He experienced two typical phases of recovery, numbness, and depression, but was unable to progress to the third phase. His mother withdrew him from the clinic shortly after his recovery process began. Zachary disclosed to his physician that he often heard the voice of his father, who passed away in 2007. He also revealed to the doctor that on August 10, 2012, his father's voice instructed him to kill his mother. However, psychologists considered Zachary's condition as typical, as individuals often fall into depression at a young age following the demise of close ones. His choice of literature further muddled the distinction between make-believe and reality. Zachary delved into Stephen King's Misery, a book notorious for its grim themes. The main character of the book, Annie Wilkes, subjects her captive author to unimaginable suffering. Did Zachary see himself in her? Did he entertain similar dark thoughts? His mother made every effort to cope with the loss of her spouse. She did everything in her power to keep the boys content, but she was unaware that her youngest son was slipping away from her. Zachary frequently communicated in a monotonous murmur.
I usually read some books or played with my friends.
In the wee hours of August 10th, 2012, emergency services were called to a residential fire in Hendersonville, Tennessee. Amid the inferno, they discovered Melanie Davis, a mother of two and a paralegal, who also pursued triathlon training, lifeless in her bed, drenched in blood, and brutally disfigured. Outside, her elder son, 17-year-old Josh, was with the law enforcement officers, but his younger sibling, Zachary, was nowhere to be found. Approximately 4 hours later and 5 miles distant from the incident site, police located 15-year-old Zachary wandering alone, attempting to depart the vicinity. He was apprehended and escorted to the Sumner County Sheriff's Office for an inquiry. This interrogation signaled the commencement of a profoundly disturbing investigation. Zachary doesn't show much emotion during the interrogation. He talks in a flat voice and doesn't change his facial expressions. This could mean he's either hiding his feelings on purpose or he has trouble showing emotions because of a mental health issue like schizophrenia or a condition like autism. Zachary doesn't say much on his own. The investigators, familiar with some family history details, began to ask about his past, hoping to make him more comfortable with the conversation.
Father had passed away.
Yes, sir.
How did he pass away?
He died from Parents disease.
It was evident that Zachary was the perpetrator.
What happened? I killed my mom in her sleep with a sledgehammer.
While he initially confesses to murdering his mother, his narrative will ultimately shift. Remarkably, retrieved text messages between Zachary and his mother indicate a seemingly regular and even loving relationship. In the meantime, Zachary's sibling Josh was also escorted to the police station for an interview. He was requested to narrate his actions on the day of the fire. Josh recollected that he had accompanied his mother to the orthodontist and then they had returned home. Throughout the interrogation, Josh's answers provided insights into his rapport with Zachary. When questioned about their activities upon returning home, Josh noted that they generally stayed in their own spaces. Probing deeper into their relationship, he characterized Zachary as reserved and somewhat aloof.
He's always kind of like quiet, I guess odd.
Hinting at potential mental health concerns. Zachary's assertions of not getting assistance were contradicted by at least one scheduled meeting with his school guidance counselor found on his phone's calendar. This implies that someone might have noticed his difficulties. On the date of August 10, 2012, Zachary, accompanied by his mother Melanie and his 16-year-old sibling Josh, had attended a movie. Later that night, post Melanie's bedtime at 9 p.m., Zachary retrieved a sledgehammer from the basement and made his way into his mother's sleeping quarters. He inflicted nearly 20 blows on her, resulting in her death. Stained with her blood, he subsequently proceeded to the family's recreational room, doused it in whiskey and gasoline, and ignited it. He shut the door in his wake and vacated the premises. Zachary had intended to eliminate his brother Josh in the blaze, but due to his act of shutting the game room door, the fire's spread was slowed. This postponement enabled the fire alarm to alert Josh. Upon searching for his mother, Josh stumbled upon her in a dreadful condition. He managed to flee the fire and took shelter at a neighboring residence. Zachary was subsequently located by law enforcement nearly 10 miles away from his residence. He eerily admitted to the authorities, "I didn't feel anything when I killed her." During his court proceedings, a video confession from Zachary Davis was presented, in which he asserted that the voice of his late father directed him to murder his mother. When probed if he would replicate his actions, given an opportunity, Zachary declared that he would also eliminate his brother Josh in the same manner he dispatched his mother.
Rewind the clock. You go back. What would you do?
His defense lawyer, Randy Lucas, questioned if the voice had provided explicit directives concerning his mother, to which Zachary responded in the negative. He exhibited an absolute absence of remorse, even when faced with graphic depictions of his mother's corpse. Consistently, he demonstrated no indications of regret. Zachary rationalized his selection of a sledgehammer as a weapon, attributing it to his apprehension of missing his mark and his belief that it provided the greatest probability of a lethal strike. When queried why he assassinated his mother,
She wasn't taking care of my family.
He began chuckling as he reminisced about the dimensions and heaviness of the sledgehammer and the noise it produced when it hit his mother's skull.
There was this wet, thumping sound.
In the course of his trial, Zachary abruptly pointed the finger at his brother for the homicide, an allegation that even startled his defense lawyer. Zachary's grandmother, on his father's side, highlighted his intense mental disorder and the absence of assistance he was given. She contended that all individuals who played a role in his upbringing, encompassing educators and advisors, should bear responsibility. The psychiatrist who initially evaluated Zachary testified that his actions were driven by his psychosis, arguing that his mental disorder meant he could not have premeditated the murders. However, this viewpoint was not shared by the jury and judge. Following a mere 3 hours of deliberation, Zachary was found guilty and sentenced to life in prison. In Tennessee, a life sentence equates to a minimum of 60 years, with the possibility of parole after 51 years. This implies that Zachary will be in his mid-60s before he is eligible for release. Regardless of whether the murder was a premeditated act or a consequence of psychosis, it remains a sorrowful story of a family devastated by tragedy. Zachary Davis's story is one of tragedy, pain, and unanswered questions. As we reflect on the events that led to that horrific night, we must strive for greater empathy, awareness, and intervention. Perhaps in understanding cases like Zachary's, we can prevent future tragedies and offer hope to troubled souls teetering on the edge of despair. In the end, Zachary Davis remains a haunting enigma, a teenage murderer whose actions defy easy categorization. His legacy serves as a somber reminder that evil can wear the face of a troubled youth, and compassion remains our most potent weapon against it. So that's all for today. Thank you for watching this video. Like and subscribe for more videos. See you in the next one.